Good evening, folks. I'm the Count.
No, not really. But we are here in New Orleans in front of St. Louis Cemetery number 1, burial site of the famous voodoo queen Mary Laveau. Yes. And interesting thing is, when you take a look around the area, there are new buildings being put up where there were once low-income housing structures. The cemetery itself seems to be in a fairly dilapidated state, which is interesting as a new sign had gone up in front. It's not covered in this video. It's too far to walk around, but there's a current entrance fee of $20 per person for a 45-minute tour. The other interesting thing that Samantha will shortly be hosting this film, noticed there's a Wi-Fi router up there, which is a curious place to put it in a cemetery. Particularly if someone needs Wi-Fi. Well, if we're living in progressive lives, the afterworld is no less progressive, therefore. The cemetery hours are on this sign. It's being from 9 to 3 o'clock, but it's hard to tell. And being that Samantha is a little bit more privy to the history of the area, I'll now hand over the making of the film to her.
Well, I'd like to start with the X's. As Pavel said, Marie Laveau is buried in the cemetery, and if you go to her grave, it is an altar, and people put the X's, and the X's are either curses or they are wishes or a variety of things. And you can notice that this wall is starting to get covered with X's, and I think this is partially because people can't go into the cemetery to worship at
Laveau's
grave site. And even if they come during the open hours, they might not be able to pay the $20. And honestly, Paul and I talked about this. Neither of us would be upset about paying $20 to go and see an amazing cemetery if that $20 was going to
The maintenance
and upkeep of the cemetery. But if you can look in here, you can clearly see that it's not.
Well, these structures here are in better shape, but if you take a look over here, let's walk this way.
Yes. If you take a look over here, you can see that even this wall is,